Hello folks, welcome to another marvelous anime video. In the world of anime, not all stories can be told within the space of a dozen or so episodes. While there are some stellar shows out there that have delivered to us mind-blowing stories in a much more concise format, some adventures are so grand, so emotionally rich, and so action-packed that they need a minimum of 100 episodes or more to fully unfold. These long-running series go beyond quick thrills. They offer deep world-building, complex character arcs, and narratives that sometimes take years to evolve. For newcomers, the sheer length of these shows might seem daunting, but for seasoned fans, it's a sign of something special, a chance to immerse yourself in a universe that grows with each episode. From legendary quests to spiritual battles across time, these anime have captivated audiences worldwide and continue to be must-watch staples in the anime community. In our video today, we have purposely left out the 4 most prominent names in the industry that fit this bill perfectly, namely Bleach, One Piece, Dragon Ball, and Naruto. This is because almost everyone out there, even remotely associated with anime, has heard of these juggernauts. What we wanted to do was put before you anime that might not be as legendary as these works, but are completely iconic in their own right. Whether you're looking for intense action, heartfelt drama, or a mix of both, here are 7 anime series with over 100 episodes each that are absolutely worth the journey. Let's begin. Yu Hakusho. Let's start things off with a classic right off the bat. Yu Hakusho is a shonen manga series written by Japanese mangaka Yoshihiro Togashi that made its debut in the weekly Shonen Jump magazine in 1990. It's currently one of the best-selling manga of all time, having sold over 50 million copies worldwide. It was therefore not a surprise that the series would receive an animated adaptation as well. The series, produced by Studio Pyro, would air from 1992 to 95, totaling 125 episodes. The series incorporates elements from the supernatural and martial arts genres, along with the usual coming-of-age stories found in most shonen shows. The plot is centered around a high school delinquent with a golden heart called Yusuke Urameshi. Having been mostly neglected by his alcoholic mother, Yusuke is a hard-headed high schooler who is constantly getting into brawls with almost every single delinquent in the city. Presented to us as an incorrigible, violent youth, a sudden act of kindness forever changes his life. Yusuke saves a young child from getting hit by an oncoming vehicle, only to be killed in the process. What's even worse is that in the afterlife, he finds out that the child was destined to have been miraculously saved anyways. His intervention only resulted in the child getting an additional scratch. However, thanks to his genuinely good heart, he's revived and assigned to work for the spirit world as a detective to take down supernatural cases. The anime evolves over time from being detective-centric to more of a martial arts series, but doesn't do so to the detriment of the narrative. If you love the animation style from the early 90s and a story that's action-packed without compromising emotional beats, Yu Hakusho will instantly appeal to you. Unlike most animes that go over 100 episodes, Yu Hakusho has a minimal amount of filler, the arcs being concise and the climaxes feeling earned. It's also worth mentioning that the English dub for this adaptation is one of the best there is. This series holds up both in its visuals and its narrative, even 30 years after its release, making this one a no-brainer recommendation. Gintama. Suppose you enjoy fourth-wall breaking humor that thrives by providing satire on the anime and manga industry, along with society in general, while parodying some of the most popular anime of all time. In that case, Gintama is something you cannot miss. Based on the popular manga series written and illustrated by Japanese manga artist Hideaki Sorachi, this series would be first adapted into an OVA before developing into a full-fledged anime series that ran for a total of 367 episodes. Gintama is set in an alternate timeline of Edo, Japan, where the Tokugawa shogunate has been overthrown by aliens instead of the Meiji Restoration. The cowardly shogun has ceded control to these extraterrestrial beings and outlawed the use of swords. We follow the main character, Gintoki Sakata, a laid-back freelancer, along with his 2 compatriots, Shinpaki Shimura, a nerdy samurai, and Kagura, an ultra-strong alien girl, as they take on odd jobs and missions. Throughout their adventures, they make numerous references to shows like Bleach, One Piece, and Naruto, to name a few, while also making fun of specific historical figures and Japanese societal norms. While the story is heavily comedic in nature, it's delicately balanced between episodic and shorter arcs, even as a richer, overarching plot develops in the background. The series is definitely unique with regard to the content it offers, with publications in Japan describing it as bizarre and weird. However, beyond the comedy, like most well-written satire, The series explores more hard-hitting topics such as social inequalities and the results of oppression. We feel that getting the ending of a series right is extremely difficult for most shows. In this regard, Gintama absolutely sticks the landing. If you want a show that'll make you laugh like a maniac, provoke your thoughts, and give you a satisfying sense of closure, then Gintama is something that you absolutely can't overlook. Trust us, those 367 episodes will fly by in no time. Sailor Moon. There are many things that make Sailor Moon unique. For instance, it's one of the few manga series that was written in conjunction with its anime adaptation. This series, written and illustrated by mangaka Naoko Takeuchi, absolutely revolutionized not only the Mahou Shoujo or magical girl genre, but also the anime and manga landscape. The Mahou Shoujo genre predates Sailor Moon, but works in that genre previously dealt with problems that one could find in a shoujo or slice-of-life series. Naoko Takeuchi would arrive with Sailor Moon and throw that convention out the window, completely flipping the entire genre on its head. While retaining the feminine charm of the older shows, Sailor Moon would be injected with several tropes and themes that were only found up until then in shonen manga. It not only empowered women and young girls by portraying them as proper badasses, it also attracted a fresh wave of male viewers who might never have otherwise engaged with the genre. When Usagi Tsukino, a middle school girl, receives the power to transform into the titular Sailor Moon, having received her powers from a black cat called Luna, her entire world is changed forever. As Tsukino begins to gather allies and come to terms with her powers, she becomes a savior of the weak and a bane for evildoers. Her transformation from a self-proclaimed cyborg to an iconic heroine who has inspired generations of fans is something to behold. The anime features a robust roster of characters, all of whom have been created with deep layers and complexity. While in most shows, this level of detail would be reserved only for a select few characters, Sailor Moon doesn't discriminate. Every other Mahou Shoujo anime after Sailor Moon follows the template established here, from the tropes to the style of transformation. The show has also aged gracefully over the years, making it an easy watch even so many decades later. Sailor Moon was a breath of fresh air and showed the world that shows with female leads could also draw in audiences. From inspiring future shows in the genre, to being studied in universities for its cultural impact, to even spawning a real-life idol group, Sailor Moon has firmly established its legacy as one of the greatest anime of all time. So, if you're a fan of the Mahou Shoujo genre or are looking to dip your toes into it, Sailor Moon is definitely the place to start. 200 episodes spread out over 5 seasons, there's plenty to keep you occupied for quite a while. Hunter x Hunter. After Yu Hakusho, we have yet another anime based on manga written and illustrated by the legendary mangaka Yoshihiro Togashi, called Hunter x Hunter. The manga has been adapted a couple of times over the years. The first adaptation, in 1999, ran for about 62 episodes before being cancelled. That version of the anime had considerably toned down violence and mature themes. This would be followed up by an OVA, after which we would get yet another fully fledged anime adaptation that was way more faithful to the source material in 2011. This anime adaptation would run for a total of 148 episodes. In the world of Hunter x Hunter, individuals who hold the title of hunters are exceptionally gifted people who travel around the world tracking down rare beasts, treasures, and even other individuals. They are an elite group selected through rigorous examination and possess numerous benefits, including access to places that are otherwise out of bounds for normal civilians. They utilize an energy called Nen, which is essentially their life force, to manifest fantastical powers and abilities both for offense and defense. The story revolves around a young boy named Gon Freaks who has grown up on a remote island, believing himself an orphan. However, after his father's apprentice, Kite, reveals to him that not only is his father still alive, he's also a world-renowned hunter, young Gon decides to leave his home in search of his father and become a hunter himself. To this end, during his journey, he makes friends with numerous characters, the most important of whom are Kurapika, the last survivor of a slaughtered clan, Killua, who was the scion of the famous assassin family called the Zoldycks, and Leorio, an aspiring physician who wishes to take advantage of the perks provided by being a hunter. Gon and his friends are tested both physically and emotionally through their various adventures, as each tries to fulfill their own dreams. The anime doesn't cover the entire manga because the series is still ongoing, and known for its irregular updates due to the mangaka's unfortunate health. Despite this, Hunter x Hunter is frequently cited by fans and critics as one of the most popular anime of all time. The 2011 anime adaptation is praised for its animation quality, voice acting, and overall faithfulness to the manga. It's inspired shows like Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, and Attack on Titan. If you're a fan of any of these shows, Hunter x Hunter is a must-watch for you. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a multi-generational saga that's still ongoing to this day. Based on the eponymous manga series written by Hirohiko Araki from 1987, and with a total of 134 volumes as of April 2024, the series is divided into 9 major story arcs, with each anime adaptation covering these various arcs. Each story arc follows the adventures of a new protagonist nicknamed JoJo, who traces their descent back to Jonathan Joestar, the protagonist of the very first arc. Whoever bears the name JoJo is burdened with the family legacy of fighting supernatural threats like vampires and other mystical creatures. The saga begins when a jealous adopted son of the Joestar family, Dio Brando, a name most anime fans should recognize even if they've never seen the series, comes into contact with a mysterious mask that turns him into an immortal vampire. Dio continues to torment generations of Joestars either directly or through his legacy, as each JoJo tries to finally rid the world of this menace. Despite its flamboyant and over-the-top characters, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure contains extremely mature thematic dichotomies like life versus death, purity versus corruption, and human will versus monstrous ambition. The series offers a fresh perspective on what a vampire is, diverging significantly from our traditional understanding of this iconic monster. There's a lot of gore and violence in the series, making it unsuitable for children and those with a squeamish stomach. Araki's masterpiece has transcended its medium and become an indelible part of pop culture through memes and constant references to other works. You'd be hard-pressed to find an anime fan who hasn't heard of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and if you are one of them, we strongly recommend you check out this generational anime. Katekyo, Hitman Reborn. Let's move on to what is perhaps the most underrated series amongst all the shows that we've featured here today. We're talking about the anime adaptation of Akira Amano's hit manga series, Katekyo, Hitman Reborn. The series would be adapted by Studio Artland and would run for 4 years in between 2006 and 2010. It would air for a total of 203 episodes, entertaining fans with a unique blend of supernatural, mafia, action, and comedy narratives. Set in the fictional town of Namimori, timid young boy named Tsunayoshi Suna Yamada is identified as the heir to the Von Gola family, which is the most powerful mafia family since its inception 400 years ago. The current head of the Von Gola family dispatches an infant Hitman Reborn to mentor Suna, becoming a person fit to take on the mantle of the Von Gola family head. Reborn employs an interesting technique called the Dying Will Bullet, which compels the person shot to pursue their final regret, powerful determination after being resurrected. Through this method, the hesitant and shy Suna begins to break out of his shell as he becomes increasingly powerful and confident. However, standing in his road to succession are many foes who deem him unworthy and will do anything to stop him. He therefore creates his own core group comprised of Reborn and other cast members he befriends along the way to help him achieve his goal. The story, which initially kicks off as an ordinary mafioso tale, quickly evolves into a sci-fi supernatural show as Suna and his friends traverse time, space, and parallel universes while fighting demons. Suna's journey from a timid youth to a true boss is both emotional and explosive. Let's highlight a few points that made this stellar anime so underrated. The first several episodes of the series are mostly comedic in nature, which turned off a lot of action fans. There's also no English dub, which hampered its overall impact globally, despite being wildly popular in Japan. The most egregious flaw, however, has to be the fact that the anime doesn't adapt the final arc of the manga. Despite this, the series still has a cult following and is definitely worth watching. Inuyasha. Inuyasha is an anime based on the eponymous manga written and illustrated by Rumiko Takahashi, one of the most celebrated mangakas from Japan. The original anime aired for a total of 167 episodes from the year 2000 to 2004, faithfully following the manga and only leaving out the final arc. A 26-episode-long adaptation aptly titled The Final Act would animate the remaining chapters of the manga and bring the series to a conclusion. The story is mostly set in Sengoku-era Japan, with it occasionally switching to modern times. It follows the story of a young high school girl named Kagome, who was transported to the Sengoku era after she falls down the well present in her family's shrine. Upon emerging from the well, she comes across a half-demon by the name of Inuyasha, who has been pinned to a tree by a spiritual arrow. Kagome proceeds to break his seal, freeing him. Inuyasha is, however, confused because Kagome is the spitting image of his former love, Kikyo, who was his captor and a supremely powerful priestess. We soon learn that Kagome is a future reincarnation of Kikyo and possesses the all-powerful Shikon Jewel. However, during a conflict, Kagome shatters this powerful artifact, which leads to her teaming up with Inuyasha to recover the fragments before they fall into the wrong hands. Through their journey across the mystical lands of feudal Japan, they must fight demons and humans alike who seek the jewel shards for their own nefarious purposes. The two end up making friends with a cursed, lecherous monk named Miroku and a female demon huntress named Sango to aid them in their journey. As the story unfolds, we learn about each of their tragic and complicated pasts and why they journey to reclaim the jewel. Inuyasha served as a gateway anime for many fans thanks to its run on networks like Adult Swim and Toonami. Decades later, this anime still commands a massive global fan base, which is reflected in the amount of discussions regarding it in forums and the cosplays you see in conventions. This anime has the right balance of action and drama, making it an easy watch. While some of the animes on this list might divide opinions amongst fans, Inuyasha is a safe bet if you're looking to invest your time in an anime that's about 100 episodes long. Marvelous verdict! We understand that diving into an anime with over 100 episodes may seem like a huge commitment. Still, the depth, world building, and character development offered by these long-running series are unmatched. Whether you're drawn in by the epic battles of Yu Hakusho, the emotional weight of Hitman Reborn, the fantasy adventure of Inuyasha, or the relentless pacing of Hunter x Hunter, these anime offer something truly special. Each series on this list has earned its place through a combination of memorable storytelling, iconic characters, and cultural impact. They've not only withstood the test of time, but continue to inspire new generations of fans and creators worldwide. If you're ready to invest in a story that grows with you emotionally, thematically, and in terms of the narrative, these anime that we've picked for our video today will reward your time with unforgettable journeys. So grab your popcorn or your ramen, pick a series, and prepare to be pulled into a world that's hard to leave. While you enjoy these anime, it's time for us to say goodbye. Thanks for sticking with us right to the end of this one. If you liked our content, be sure to check out the rest of our channel where we post videos featuring all of your favorite anime and manga daily. We hope to see you soon. Until then, stay safe and stay marvelous.